Welcome back to 10 Mentors. This is the podcast where we borrow wisdom from the people who've already been where we're trying to go in health, relationships, work, and the moments that shape a life. Today's episode is about a small idea that can change your entire week. Why enjoying the little things matters. Because if you get this right, happiness stops being something you chase occasionally and starts becoming something you notice daily. So I want to start with a confession. I used to feel embarrassed about small things that brought me joy. Like when something tiny genuinely made me happy. A cup of tea first thing in the morning, a potato sandwich, or my dog doing something ridiculous, a part of my brain would whisper, "Really? That's enough to lift your mood? How small must your life be if that is what wins you over?" It's such a weird kind of shame, isn't it? The shame of being easy to delight. But there's a quote I heard that's attributed to, I think, Tolkien, and it got me thinking, if more of us valued food and cheer and song above hoarded gold, it would be a merrier world. Whether you've heard it before or not, the message is simple. We've been trained to underestimate ordinary joy. And maybe that's down to social media and this increasing pressure of what we post. We keep an emotional ledger of our life on there, but most of us only record happiness when the deposit is huge. It could be a wedding, a big promotion, a new car, a business win, or a once-in-a-lifetime trip. The rest, we can act like it doesn't count, like small pleasures are counterfeit currency. Let me give you a story that you might relate with. A friend of mine called me once and asked, "So how was your weekend?" And I said, "Brilliant. I was out picking mushrooms and it was great." And then there was this tiny pause, and then they laughed a little and went, "Is that it?" Not in a mean way, but in that casual way people sometimes dismiss simple joy. Like the unspoken rule is, if your weekend wasn't a big Instagram story, then it wasn't a good one. And it hit me how much pressure we've absorbed. The pressure that happiness has to look extreme. Like you have to be jumping from a plane, or climbing a mountain, or doing something that comes with a dramatic photo for it to count as real joy. But your life isn't mostly made of those extreme moments. It's made of Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, ordinary days. And those days are made of small moments stacked on top of each other. So asking happiness to only show up for huge events is like asking the sun to only rise on bank holidays. And then I once met someone who had this unusually positive kind of happiness. We were traveling, everything went a bit wrong, flight delays, long lines, an overbooked hotel. Most people were getting irritated, including me. She just smiled and said, "Honestly, I'm still winning. I got to read on the plane, I'm in a new city, and this food is great." See, she was skilled at being less negative and more positive for the small things. She had trained herself to enjoy the basic wins, something I now try to implement into my own life, to be less negative. And that's the difference I want to underline. There are two types of people. The person who needs big achievements to feel good, which was me once, and the person who can find joy in the simple things of everyday life. And we often assume the first person is more impressive. But there's another way to see it. The second person is more emotionally resilient, because their happiness isn't rare, it isn't expensive, or dependent on perfect circumstances. And what's interesting in today's world is we've become experts at noticing what's wrong and strangely untrained at noticing what's good. Bad coffee can ruin your mood. Lost Wi-Fi can make you snap. A red light can cause rage. Our threshold for irritation is low, but our threshold for joy is absurdly high. Like, a stranger's smile doesn't count, or a great song on shuffle isn't enough, or clean sheets on a Friday feels too small to celebrate. Maybe because we confuse small joy with small ambition. We assume that if you love ordinary pleasures, you must be settling. But that's not how joy works. You can chase meaningful goals and still let a beautiful morning be a beautiful morning. You can build a big life without starving yourself of small happiness. There's a line I love. Enjoyment is efficiency, meaning the less you need to feel good, the more good you get to feel. Your mental health and life is going to be pricey if you need constant thrills to be happy. But if your system can light up for simple things too, you'll collect happiness coins everywhere. So here's a simple challenge, just a gentle shift. How little of a thing could happen to make your day? Could it be a walk with the dogs, clean bed sheets, a kind text message, or a meal you cooked that actually hit the spot, or a small win at work? Like, I remember a morning where I was carrying a lot. Work pressure, home pressure, mental noise that makes everything feel urgent. And then as I was walking, I let my whippets loose in the forest, and I just watched them run like absolute lunatics. The speed, the sharp turns, the total joy of it. It melted my heart. I laughed out loud, proper laughter. And I'm telling you, it brought me so much joy, it almost felt kind of ridiculous. It was one of those moments where whatever I was carrying that day got lighter. It genuinely made my morning. And yes, the old version of me would have felt a flicker of shame. Like, is that all it takes? But now I think that's the point. That's the skill we need to build. Because if you hold your happiness hostage until life gives you something huge, like writing a book or getting a pay rise or significant promotion, you've got the whole idea upside down. The real richness of life might be this: not how grand your highlights are, but how much joy you can harvest from ordinary soil. So, if small things make you smile, don't shame or flatten it, and don't act like joy must be dramatic to be real. Let the little things count, because they're not little when they happen every day. That's today's message. Just lower your threshold for joy, and your life will thank you. If this thought helped you, pass it on to someone who's been waiting for life to get bigger before they let themselves feel good. Because you don't need a perfect life to feel alive. You just need permission to notice what's already here. This is Quiva from 10 Mentors. Thanks for listening. And until next time, take the joy when it shows up, even if it arrives in the shape of fast dogs in the forest, clean sheets, or a really good cup of tea.